Welcome to Headwreckas Presents King TV, produced by the homies at CLE, and I'm your host, D. Willa, where this is a weekly show where we're going to always keep it real 100% of the time and try to bring people together in the name of love. Yes, sir.
You can't believe everything you read in a magazine. You can't believe all the bullshit.
Yo, welcome back to Headwreckas Presents King TV with me, your host, D. Willa. And we got a special guest today, one of my beautiful friends, Victoria Rush. She's a mitigation specialist. I'm going to let her go into her thing when she gets in here. But before we start that, let's go ahead and give a round of applause to the Astros because they made it to the playoffs. They're not only did they make it to the wild card game, the baby playoffs, they're actually in the real playoffs. They are now tied 1-1. 1-1 against the Royals. And as of right now, they're playing today, Game 3. Kershaw is pitching. They are down 1-0 right now, but we're going to send our good vibes, as always, to the Astros. So let's give a round of applause to the Astros because no matter what happens, they did the damn thing this year. So let's give a round of applause to them. Altuve, Correa, Carter, the guy with the beard, Springer, Gomez. These boys were shining, and hey, they made H-Town look good, and from now on we're gonna have a good ass baseball team. These are young guys, and hey, the future's looking bright for us, just like it's looking bright for the Rockets, who are starting to play their preseason games this week. But the future is not looking bright for your sorry-ass Houston Texans. Let's give a round of applause. They took another L. I think the score was 21-27, or let's see what score. Yeah, 20-27. They lost to the Indianapolis Colts. I know you might say, hold on, losing to the Indianapolis Colts isn't bad. They've got Andrew Luck and T.Y. Hilton and Andre Johnson. Oh, no. They had Matt Hasselbeck as their quarterback. And not only did they have Matt Hasselbeck as their quarterback, Matt Hasselbeck was so sick that he didn't even practice, I don't think, at all the whole week. I think he was in the ER in the hospital till like Tuesday. We played on Thursday, and he came out here and whipped our ass. But there was two exquisite, sunshiny, bright spots, and that was when my man Andre Johnson torched us for 2 TDs. Come on, let's give another a round of applause to the real Houston football GOAT. Houston Texans. No, we might debate that. Who is the real Houston football GOAT? It might be Andre. He's up for it, but he's definitely the Houston Texans football GOAT. Screw this other guy, which is another part that went good. J.J. Watt, let me look at his stat sheet again from Thursday night. 0 tackles. Ooh. 1. I think this guy had 2 assisted tackles. So he got 0.5 tackles, I think. So for a guy that's the GOAT, he sure has been stinking it up. I mean, so to all you Watt suckers, it's not looking good for you. I know, I talked to some Watt suckers the other day at the Prairie View homecoming. Shout out to PV. PV, you know what I'm saying? We're producing productive people at Prairie View, but there were some guys that were out there that were telling me how Watt was still the greatest ever. And then I said, so why is Watt better than Ndamukong Suh? And they tell me because Ndamukong Suh hasn't done shit. He doesn't get any stats. And I explained to them that's because he gets double and triple teamed every time he plays. He is a nose guard. And then so now that JJ is getting double and triple teamed sometimes he's not, sometimes he is, they make that as an excuse. So how good is J.J. Watt? Is he that much better than Ndamukong Suh? Ndamukong Suh don't get any sacks, but he also gets triple teamed every week. And now that Watt is getting triple teamed, he's out there. Those guys made Watt look like a fool. They had him on the ground flipping and hollering. He didn't know what the hell was going on. So is he the best? Or is he just a beast, a super beast? Don't get me wrong, that was in the right place at the right time. And now that people have caught on to him, he's he's still a super beast, but now he's more with Dominican Sue, which is a guy that's going to get triple teamed and not get any stats. But your team should be better, and you should be helping your team. Which, Cushion, he's done. Unless somebody needs to order this man a needle and shoot him up quickly as this plane crash of a season is going downhill, and I enjoy it. And if you know me, you know that I enjoy it. I know you see that I dressed up today, got nice and spiffy for our guest. Again, Victoria Russ. We're gonna go out there and get her. Just a real quick sports second as I spew my hate and love for the Houston teams. And so we're gonna be right back with mitigation specialist for criminal cases, Victoria Russ. We'll see you in a second.
Believe everything you see on the TV. You can't believe everything you read in a magazine.
Welcome back to Headwreckas KingTV with your host D Willa. And like I said, I put on my expensive shirt today. We've got a very smart and beautiful guest, Victoria Russ. She's a mitigation specialist for criminal cases out here in Houston, and she is the boss. Yes, she is a boss of her own company, Heart of Justice. And I want to thank you for coming, Victoria. How you been doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. So, like I said, I contacted you. I know you through some crazy internet stuff that was going on where we like to joke around and talk nonsense all day through Cameron. Shout out to Cam.
Hey, what up,
and,
Cam?
he told me to look out for you. He's got this
He
brother
did?
complex. He said,
Aw.
there's this girl coming down. Look out for her. So, I try to show you love.
Thank you.
And
yes, you have.
and I've, me and you've talked a few times about what you do, and I find it very interesting. Is it safe to say you're very liberal? Sorta, maybe.
Kinda.
Just
yeah,
on this,
certain
you're
things.
liberal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like labels, but whatever.
Yeah. Nobody's just liberal, but
Yeah.
you sway liberal sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And just talking to you about what you do, I find that very interesting and very, it's a very cool thing that you got going on.
Thank
So,
you.
could you sort of explain for the people what it is you do and why you do it?
Yes, so my job title is mitigation specialist for criminal cases, but I only do death penalty cases. So when a person is charged with capital murder, they are mostly appointed because it's really expensive to afford a capital attorney.
Right.
But and you have to be a qualified capital attorney. But when the person, the accused person, is charged with capital murder, they're appointed 2 attorneys and an investigator who investigates the crime, and then a mitigation specialist who investigates the life history of that person and helps the attorney learn how a person got to where they are and tries to find mitigating factors to mitigate a sentence less than the death penalty.
Okay. So what would that be? I mean, the only thing I know is what you can't be a kid and you can't be crazy.
Mentally retarded,
Uh-huh.
aka intellectually disabled.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
And that's okay.
Yeah, I said crazy, but I'm out of control. But yeah,
no, that's
you've
all right.
got
And
mental problems.
yeah, I mean, a person who's under 18 can't get the death penalty, and they can't even be sentenced to life anymore. And that just changed recently.
Oh, okay.
And most of the time, capital murder means murder plus a felony, murder plus rape, murder plus it being a cop, murder plus it being a judge, murder plus it's 2 people, murder plus a kidnapping, murder plus robbery.
Okay.
That's what you can be charged for capital murder with that.
Okay.
That
All right.
kind of crime.
I was you were saying that people usually don't get, they're usually appointed
Yeah.
their lawyers, and I read up some stats that like 77% of the people, or maybe it was like 82% of the people that can't afford their lawyers. So 82% of the people had court-appointed lawyers.
Right, and I'm court appointed too.
But you're not a lawyer, so
Right.
So how do you feel about that? So that
Well,
you're working with somebody that it seems like I don't know what their ratio is of winning, but you know that 80%
are
of
court
the
appointed.
people are court appointed and they're getting the life, they're getting their
Right.
life sentence. So does that make you fight a little extra harder? Try to find
I'm always going to just do a badass job.
okay, right?
So there's some bad rap out there for people for court appointed attorneys.
Okay.
First, they're not all terrible. There's all different kinds of court appointed attorneys, and I can only speak with the ones that I worked with before. And a capital court appointed attorney has so much experience. Because they've had so many felony murders, and they've had to been to trial and so many hours, this and that, and so they're more seasoned, so they know a little bit more about the law, and they hire people like me to help build bridges for them. So I help them build a bridge between them and their client, between them and the experts that they hire that are going to testify to educate the jury, between their client and the jury. Between their client and the jury. So court-appointed attorneys, and in Harris County, it's like every criminal defense attorney who is capital qualified has to take at least 12 indigent cases a year. So indigent meaning the person who cannot afford an attorney.
Okay.
And so you could get the top of the line attorney who makes millions of dollars, and he still has to represent at least 12. And maybe that's all he or she will do.
Okay.
And then you have other attorneys who only do court appointed work. And I work for both of them.
Okay, so there's guys with their own firms
Yeah.
that can be court appointed.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you get that? Is that a roll of the dice?
Yep.
So you're like, oh shit, I just got Jim Ackler, I think, or Jim whatever, I don't know.
I don't
just
know
made up
who
a
that
name.
is. I don't
Yeah.
work with him, but
He's an old guy that was on Houston TV. So
Okay.
so you just roll the dice and you're gonna get somebody
Yep.
either
Right on.
they're good or they're bad.
Right on.
But they should be good.
They should be
because
they should be seasoned because they're able to practice capital law.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was reading some other stats. I'm just going to hit you with some stuff that I read and just see
Okay.
how you feel about it.
Sure.
So 77% of people that are on death row
Yeah.
are minorities. I think they're black.
And there's hell of them. A lot of them are from Harris County.
No, my fault. That's wrong. 77% of the people on death row have killed white people, right?
Oh yeah, I believe
But
that.
there's 50% of the people that die from these capital murders are black, and like 35% are
okay.
Hispanic.
Right. Because
So-
I mean, it's more terrible to kill a white person.
Right? Is that?
Yeah.
I mean, is that? Do you
To
see
some
that
people, it
happening?
is.
Yeah. So it's still, I mean, we're in Texas.
Do I see that happening? Well, yeah. I mean, I see it happening. I'm trying to think if any of my cases were like that.
It's like, hey, he killed a white woman. I know killing a white woman is probably gonna get you.
That's terrible.
That's gonna be terrible. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's. I don't even know what to say. I mean, it's terrible that if you are a lower class, okay, if you're a bottom feeder, if you will, and you come up to high class and you kill those persons up there, then it's way worse on you than if you kill somebody else from the bottom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No doubt. Well, I didn't ask this question, and it's probably I should have asked it first. Are you for or against the death penalty?
Oh, I'm against it.
You're against it 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. So do you, have you, a case that you've taken I wouldn't say lost, or you weren't able to sway them to think the way you want,
Well,
do you does
I
that
don't have a
heartbreaking
client
every
on
time?
death row, thank God.
Okay.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking every time.
Okay.
Whenever there's other little things that will break your heart about work.
Yeah.
But I don't have a client on death row, and I don't plan on getting one there. And there's a lot of factors that go into when you learn someone's life and how they got to be where they are, and then you're trying to help identify their story within, what are the mitigating factors for them? What is the things that are important to the DA? What are the things that are important to a jury? And then you help to bring those things to light, whatever the DA would be worried about, so that they will waive the death penalty or offer a plea. We as a defense cannot go to the DA and say, my client's willing to take 25 years for murdering his whole family. Give it up. They won't give you a plea then. They only give you a plea, and most of the time it's for life without parole, not for a matter of years. So we want to present to the DA, the defense attorneys will present to the DA certain aspects of our case and see if they'll waive the death penalty or offer a plea.
Who is the DA here? in Houston? Do you know?
Miss Anderson.
Miss Anderson, good, bad, indifferent?
I
She
mean,
cool? Is she
she's
just
cool with me.
okay? All right.
I really don't know. I really don't get involved in the politics, and I don't really read the news that much. I don't have a TV. I just stay focused on what I'm doing and where I'm at, because all that other shit is a distraction. So I know Miss Anderson is the DA here because she's the top one, but there's a
Right.
lot of DAs that she manages,
Mhm.
and then they have DAs that manage them, and there's like a whole government hierarchy stuff, and I don't really know that much about that because I'm only focused on doing my own shit.
Okay, hey, I feel you. I had a friend that was a DA, I think, for Lamarck. Holler at Joe at Sherman and Watkins. Those are my boys out there. Two lawyers that went to school with me. He was a DA. I'm sure he wasn't doing, giving people, making the choice of life or death. And is that what the DA does? So you give her the information and she looks at it. Is it just him or her that makes that decision? Like, okay, y'all can go for the death penalty, or you can only go for life, which sort of seems
Right.
crucial
Well,
either way, right?
it's a group decision on
Okay.
their part, and that's something that the attorneys honestly deal with. I'm
Okay.
doing all the background work.
Right. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Let us take a quick break before we run out of time on this little segment. We'll be back with Victoria Russ, the boss, Ricky Ross of Heart of Justice. King TV. We'll be right back.
You see on the TV. You can't believe everything you read in a magazine. You can't believe all the bullshit on the
Welcome back to Headwreckas Presents King TV, produced by the homies at Conceptual Logistics Enterprise. We're here with Victoria, Miss Rusk. She's been explaining her job as a mitigation specialist, and I had a few more questions for you before we go. So let's say, because I've heard some of these stories from you, what guys, women, mostly guys probably, right? Because
What's they're accused of? I had one female client.
one
yeah.
female.
Mhm.
Is it usually, I don't know what the percentage are, but most people that are doing the crazy stuff are men, right?
I mean, yeah.
You don't, yeah, probably. So when you have this horrible crime, somebody, like you said, kills their family, rapes some girl because, rapes their daughter, kills their family,
Yeah.
horrible, heinous stuff. How do you approach that? How can you, I think it would be, if it was me, I'm not you, but if it was me, I'm looking at him, I might want to slap him.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't want to work. I wouldn't want to do that.
No
How do
doubt.
you do it? Like how?
Well, whenever I meet a client, the accused, he or she, the crime just happened, because I'm normally hired within 30 to 45 days.
Okay.
So if they need medical attention, psychiatric attention, then my first thing is to advocate for them. But I think you're talking more specifically about just how I interact with them.
Yeah, like how?
Okay,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
I go to the jail. The attorney has to introduce me to him. There's no cold going to talk to him. You have to be introduced by somebody else. And I always tell my clients, don't talk to anybody unless I bring them to you. So sometimes, I get nervous, especially if it was on the news and stuff. So I already kind of know what they're accused of or whatever. But I get a little nervous.
Because these people have, I guess that's the question. Are these people getting accused? You said accused, so we don't know. You're not going in there knowing 100% that they committed this crime.
That's
or do
right.
You pretty much know? Or is
Well,
it, you don't know. This is before
yeah, but I
everything,
could
so-
say, I can confidently say that 90% of my clients did the crime.
Okay.
I really haven't represented an innocent person yet.
Okay.
So, yeah, most of the time they have done it and killed whoever. And so anyways, I am a really spiritual person, so I pray before. I put light all over me. I ask the universe to help me to say the right things and to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And I really just go in and meet them like I would meet anybody else, because I'm not connected to the victims.
Right.
And I'm more so just caring about the person. And I meet with them like this. I don't meet with them in glass between us, because I'm not going to do anything to make them feel not human. They already are in cuffs and they have no freedom. And there's a cop right outside the door that if something happens, they'll be right there. And so when I meet them, it's just like this. And I talk with them however I talk. How are you doing today? This or that. And I really, more so than anything, just listen. they need to talk to someone. They might want to tell me stuff. I'm never, on the first meeting, I never ask them about the crime or what they're accused of or anything like that. It's really like simple biological stuff. Are you sleeping? Have you ate something? How's your cell? What are the people around you? You know, just how are you doing, and how can we get you to the healthiest state of mind so that we can begin work? And sometimes that might take months to get to that point. And so I visit my clients every 2 weeks. Sometimes maybe 3 times a month, depending on like what's going on or whatever. And I just get to know them just like I would any other friend. There's nothing, I don't have a list of questions and ask. I don't take notes. I just talk with them like I would anybody else. And I'm here to tell you, they want to tell you their story. Maybe nobody's ever heard them before. And so what's made my business successful, I think, is just treating people like a human with respect and dignity. Because once you do that, they're going to mirror it right back to you, just like anybody else.
Okay. No, for sure. So you talk to them. You mentioned that you go talk to their family.
Mm-hmm.
So like what's that process like? Like, what are you actually looking for? Like, again, is it just mostly every time you're trying to? So I know some people watch it and they'll say, you know, you're trying to get these murderers off, you know, right? I mean,
yeah, nobody's getting off.
right, they're not getting off if
No.
they're doing life. I mean, life,
Mm-hmm.
like how I feel about I haven't said it, but how I feel about the death penalty is I'm a little indifferent.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody asked me if I was going to vote for the death penalty, I probably wouldn't vote for it. Like, I would say, if we had to vote for it and they're like, yay or nay, do you want the death penalty? I would probably say no. If somebody said, hey, there's a death penalty, go out and vote to shut it down, I probably wouldn't do that either.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, but I'm a male. That might have something to do with it. I'm a macho guy, whatever. So I think, you know, you mess with my family, you do something like that, you know, I don't really, at that point, I'm not caring.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a wonderful heart. You're showing these people love and you're caring for them, you know, showing that somebody out there cares for them. I probably personally wouldn't. But, you know, when you're like, what are you trying to find? Like, what are you trying to find to tell the judge or whoever that this person can't get executed?
Okay, yeah. First off, I can't find anything. If you go out looking for something, like, you'll try to find it, but it'll end up being some other shit.
Right.
Like, whatever I do, I'm just open, and that information comes to me, and then I figure that out once I get the information.
Okay.
I don't know what's going to happen when I go visit their classmate or their mom, their sister, their kid, their sixth baby mama, their cellmate, a jailer from whenever they were incarcerated 10 years ago, a neighbor. You don't ever know what they're going to say or whatever. So you really just have to be open to accepting all the information that you get, the emotions that you get, the attitudes that you get, the whatever it is. You just need to be open to getting that, and people will tell you, and then slowly you start to put the pieces of the puzzle together. So you're just gaining information. There's no good or bad information. It's all just information. And so I might have to go and interview somebody 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times to get them to be able to be more real or authentic with me, because they don't know me. So
Right,
why
I
are they going to
figure
tell
like
me this bad stuff or
right,
good
my
stuff
brother
or whatever?
probably wouldn't tell you, you know, anything.
Right.
You know, so I'm sure you have that, like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
come on, what are you? You know, we're not telling you anything. Blah,
Yeah,
blah.
and that's fine.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not going to give up on
Uh-huh.
a person like that. I'll keep on visiting them until they ask me not to. Or if it's a dry well, I'm not going to expect to get anything from it. I'll just find something else, because there are other people who will talk. So it doesn't necessarily have to be that person. You just have to wear your shoes out, like going and knocking on doors and asking and talking with people. And sometimes you don't, you get information that you weren't expecting to get from someone you barely know or whatever. And I just believe that that's like divine intervention, and I'm getting exactly what I need when I need to get it. And then I don't even question. I'm very confident that I'm going to get the information I need to save this person's life, as long as I don't give up and I do my best, and I just keep on working. I mean, that's the way it works. It's been happening.
When you like how hard is it if you're gonna talk to the parents or the brother and sister of somebody or the kid? Do you talk to the children
Hmm.
of somebody that is that hard on you to do, or
Yeah, I
is
mean,
that
it's hard on everyone. I
right,
think it's more hard on them than it is me. I
right,
mean, their daddy is my friend, or their brother is my friend now because I've been spending, 3 or 4 months with them, and then I go and I really try to talk to people on the outside first before I talk
right,
to people on the inside, because these people are very ashamed and hurt and distraught by what their loved one did, and they might have never been accepting of this person from the jump. So people from the outside, then you kind of work your way in, because after a crime, only time heals those wounds. So I might not get to talk with them, or they might reach out to me first or something, but 6 or 7 months down the line, I'm not going to call somebody's mama, like, unless my client asks me to. But first things first is take care of the client, make sure that they're okay and healthy, and then, gathering information. It's a process. I mean, I get on a case today, we're not going to trial for sure till 2018.
oh, okay. So you're stacking that real paper, I see.
Oh my God.
So what is okay? So what is the process? So
Hmm.
you talk to this person, you get all the information, you decipher it, you figure out where you're gonna go, what you can
Hmm.
do with this, and then what do you do?
So I'm
Like
in
a perfect
conversation with the
scenario.
attorney. I'm in conversation with the attorney, and when I learn some information, I present it. It's not until we are a year or so out from the trial or whatever that we start kind of figuring out what are we going to be able to do, because there needs to be time for everyone, even the DA. So I give them all the information. I say, this is what everybody has to say. Here's the family tree. You look at this family tree, you can see everyone who's been to prison, everyone who has drug addiction, anyone who's maybe been molested by another family member, somebody who you can just see everything in the family tree, and you can almost kind of see patterns. And then I give them like a rundown of who I think would be best, or how I just give them my best advice on what I think that punishment trial should look like. So if they are convicted, and then we go into a punishment trial where they will be sentenced to death or life without parole, this is the way that I think it should go down. I think we should have this witness, then have this expert, and then have like a teacher and a neighbor and a coach, and then have this expert, and then have brother, sister, and then have this expert. I mean, when I was preparing for trial earlier this year, we had 6 experts who they come on and they're going to educate the jury. They're not advocating for my client, they are educational tools. And then we have the witnesses, who are the friends, family members, neighbors, teachers, all those people who will be fillers in. So I have a background in news, so I build my punishment phase of the trial like a newscast.
Okay, that's how you know Cameron. No,
Yes.
it is.
Yeah,
He's
because
a
he
news
worked.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
news nerds. So I guess we're about to run out of time, and I appreciate you coming. Like
Thank you.
100%. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
What is like the major thing that you want to push?
Oh.
For the people out there, for Ms. Rusk.
I would say, compassion. That would be like the number one thing. And people with mental illness, or maybe who suffer from head injury or something like that. But compassion is the biggest thing. I mean, we don't give enough benefit of doubt to strangers. So even when you're driving down the street, or you're talking to your kid's teacher, or you're at the grocery store or whatever, we don't know what each other are going through, or to the capacity. So just love one another, choose love over fear. Like, if you get a choice, if you can be mindful enough to do that, and be compassionate with one another, because I mean, that would probably be that's the biggest thing, I think. And in my work, I try to channel Mother Teresa, because I think that she was just the ultimate example of forgiveness. And that's probably the most touching thing that I can see, is when one of witnesses in one of my cases truly forgives the person who did the crime.
Right.
And they're able to come and tell the story, or to participate, or to do something for redemption for my client. And so that's what I would probably.
Is it often that you have a sister, brother, or mother that is of the victim, and they're
Yeah.
saying, hey, we don't want
Yeah.
the death penalty also.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
And you're working. Do you think this same type of we're in Houston, which is
Yeah.
sort of different, I think, than everywhere else. Do you think your effectiveness would be as a high of a percentage in other parts of Texas? Or you think that you're in Houston, with it being a little more, maybe not liberal, but a little more liberal than anywhere else except Austin, maybe, that people are more willing to not give the death penalty? Because I think Texas is like the number one, right? 37%.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the front lines of the battlefield here in Houston. In other parts of Texas, it's very similar. I mean, there is going to be liberal areas, sure, like Austin or something, because there's people who can understand or have higher education, and so they can kind of connect the dots a little bit faster. But everybody is affected by crime. Even if we're not a part of the person who's the accused or the victims, everybody is. Our whole community is. I mean, it's crime. Like, this is either, a cry, like an outcry.
Right.
And so it affects everybody in the community. I mean, it puts out a vibration of fear when you read it on the news, when you're a part of it in a jury, when your, kid is at school and then some other school blows up in another state.
Right.
So,
again, I appreciate it, Victoria. Thank you for coming. Thank you for educating the people. Want to thank my homies at CLE. Want to thank the Headwreckas. Want to thank my man at 405 Labs. Just appreciate y'all. Today was a little more serious because this is a serious matter that I think people need to talk about. Like I said, we're not trying to sway you anyway. Like I said, it is what it is for me. But Victoria feels very special, she feels strong about this, and we need more opinions and, to get other people to think,
right on.
And that's it. So appreciate y'all watching Headwreckas TV. No, it's not Headwreckas TV. This is Headwreckas Presents King TV with your host D. Will. Appreciate it.
Believe everything you see on the TV. You can't believe everything you